welcome. The final talk of today for Usi's talk event. This is again a 3-day talk, so we'll have talks on Saturday and Sunday as well. But joining us is MakiDonalds, or just Maki. You have been playing the game for quite some time, and today you'll be focusing on reaching barriers in your gameplay and how you can best overcome that. So I will leave you to your talk, and thank you everyone for being here.
Thank you so much, Hypno. Well, everyone, I'm not sure if you guys saw the title that I had for my talk on the OSU website, and it was Break Your Walls Before They Break You. While some of you might find that very funny, I certainly tried to be kind of to appeal to the people with that title. But I think everyone will soon get to realize what I wanted to talk about regarding that. I think it's very obvious. Like, break your walls, you can refer to your biggest obstacles. That's basically what this is all about, right? His walls in Osu. And I will be trying to talk about that. I will talk also a bit about my personal experiences with the game and what brought me to the point where I'm at. I'm currently a rank 400 Osu player, and it didn't always start like that, right? I created my account in January 2018, and then in May I started actively grinding. But then there's something that I feel like it's very unusual happened. I went from a 6-digit that was barely grasping the game to becoming a full-fledged, very high 4-digit and 3-digit very soon after in 1 year of gameplay. And I think people would think, oh, that's really awesome, right? But then there was something that happened, and that's what I want to talk about, the obstacles here, right? As you can see, I didn't go up that much in ranks. Like you used to say MREC or something, right? He had a very exponential rise to the top. And I think it's even if it's not the same extent as I did, right? I think it's something that a lot of people can definitely recognize themselves in this situation. Of course, not as extreme as I said, but people just reach a point where they feel, oh, I'm stuck in this rank. What can I do now, right? It's very hard because, as I said, 3 years from gameplay until I reached the 3-digit mark until today, and I have barely progressed, or so it would seem, right? I think there are very serious mental repercussions on hitting walls when playing the game. You will feel like you are progressing less just because you don't see the number close to your profile increase. Thus, you don't get like that dopamine rush of you improving, right? And Osu, as weird as it seems, because it's such a mechanical game, where in terms of aiming and tapping, right? It's such a mental game as well, and I'd say it's mostly a mental game. If your mentality is not in the correct place, I do not think you can improve all that much. There are players that improve even through that. I'd say I probably was one of those cases. My mentality used to suck a lot. It's still not the best, but it used to suck a lot. And it's a very important mental game. And I think if you can set your mental to be a fairly good one, right? You are just setting yourself on the path to success in this game. And one of the other mental repercussions that comes from hitting those very big walls that you cannot get through at all, or it so seems, of course, I'm going to talk a bit more about that still, is that considering your past improvement rate, you will expect a constant improvement rate similar to that one. And the thing is, we have heard talks here as well by Panda, by Zuri, and by Lycanoob, where they all mention expectations. And I will talk a bit about expectations against goals, because I think those are two different things that are very important for us to understand here. And you expect yourself to keep on going through that path. And I'm pretty sure I'm not alone in this. If you guys identify with this, you can just type it out in the chat as well, just so I don't feel like this is is that far-fetched. I think it's a fairly common thing. But yeah, you will expect yourself to keep on going at 100 kilometers per hour or something like that. Then your car just starts, with hiccups, and you just become like, you go at 10 kilometers per hour, 5 kilometers per hour, but your car is still going, right? And I think that's a thing people need to realize. Improvement rates will be different from people to people, and besides that, your improvement rate will differentiate itself from when you were just starting out and the point you are at right now. It will always fluctuate. It will never be the same. Well, talking a bit more about myself and how I got to realize that this was a real situation that was happening to me about the walls and all that, right? Uh, as I said, I am a player that very quickly rose through the ranks. But then I hit a wall in terms of ranks, and I just couldn't gain that many ranks, right? And we all know, as also players, even if we don't focus exactly on ranks, it's always very cool to see that number go up. You get that dopamine rush, right? But I started to get into something else to try and kind of get my mind away from it. And I started playing OSU tournaments. I started grinding them a lot. And then, since there's no one really in the Portuguese community, and I think this is more something that applies to me, but I think you guys should think about this related to your own experiences, right? I'm going to be talking a bit about myself, so there's some context behind it all, but I think you guys should relate this to all of your experiences. I have felt an immense pressure from my own head in terms of tournament performance from my national community, because they were like, oh, that's the guy that plays tournaments. He must do well, right? And what if I didn't? What if I didn't? And it just made my mental health regarding the game a bit worse when I could not achieve those expectations that, to be completely honest, I was setting for myself. And I'm not sure if people here are aware of the situation regarding Portuguese OWC positioning. We have been trying very hard to qualify for OWC, and last year, last 2 years ago, we got seed 33. And for those unaware of the tournament scene, in OWC you need to achieve seed 32 to pass onto the next round. So that's another one of those obstacles that's still been there. And I think it's important to mention there's a lot of different obstacles, and you will have yours as I had mine, and I'm trying to explain. But I think it's very important to mentalize yourself of those obstacles and to overcome said obstacles, right? Firstly, I wanted to talk about there's a very severe difference between your rank and your actual skill. And I think something that you will realize by that is, even if you haven't improved in rank or you have even decayed, even if you've gained PP, right? If you go onto your local scores, right, only your local scores, and you play a map, you will most likely get the same score or better. Very rare cases you will get a worse score. And that's a thing that people just hyper-focus themselves on. Like, oh, I'm not gaining any ranks. I am not improving. What am I doing wrong? And then they just go down into that spiral of mental madness, if you can call it that even, that they are not improving. And I think that's very, very wrong. And that's the thing I've sadly had to learn all by myself and with a lot of time invested into the game. And I really wanted just to share this with you, because I think being aware of that might not seem by much, because you're like, aha, that guy is just saying, oh, look at this, and I will do that, and it's not going to be the same. Just try and mentalize yourself of that. You are mostly always improving. There are very rare cases where it doesn't happen. You are mostly always improving. You're just not noticing, and you're gaslighting yourself into believing you're not improving as well. That's a very serious issue that I think I've not been alone there, and I think a lot of other people probably have felt. As said on other talks, though, there's the expectations against goals. I think goals are very, very different from expectations. This was already talked about. I will try not to waste much of my time on this. And I just think goals are something that's very healthy to set for yourself. I think it's important to push yourself to try and achieve those goals. But expectations, you're kind of, I'd say maybe on a time constraint. You're like, oh, I think I'm gonna be able to do this today. And if you don't, you're gonna get really mad. But if you say, I eventually want to be able to FC this map, to FC a map of this star rating, to achieve said PP, I wouldn't say that's unhealthy, but expectations certainly can be for sure. And I think another bad hyper focus that you can have that definitely wouldn't help you improve and just okay, how do I put this? I have like a list of topics here that I want to talk about, but reaching this one is kind of tough to talk about it. But hyper focus is when you focus on a certain skill set, because I think you can focus on a certain skill set and be good at, like, for example, speed, aim, reading, stuff like that. But as if you just neglect everything else, you will just not be able to progress on the skill set you actually want to be good at. I think there should be a healthy balance of everything. And I don't think that if you think to yourself you're not improving, you should keep on pushing through that, right? Because if you don't, you will not improve, right? If you don't play, you don't improve. That's literally the play more, right? It's, of course, you need to play correctly, but play more is definitely just helping my case here. And as Zurinator said, a bit talking about the skill set issue at hand here, is it can be fairly frustrating to learn new skills. Of course, having your friends there that are more knowledgeable in the issue, in the skill set, might be able to help you much, much better. But it will be frustrating, but you simply have to reach the level where you're actually enjoying it and having fun with said skill set, and it just becomes such a breeze from there. You gotta take my word for it. It's honestly amazing. I think I managed to go over most of my points that I wanted to talk about here, and I just wanted to mention that this is all simply based on my personal experience, right? And not all of these will apply equally to everyone, of course, but I'm fairly confident that the general idea of what I'm trying to portray here does. And as I mentioned in the title of the talk, Break Your Walls Before They Break You, is I just wanted to kind of let people in of the ins and outs of this mentality part of Osu that plays such a big role in actually overcoming your obstacles. And I feel like if you are not able to get through that, it will eventually just make you start hating the game, and that's something that definitely would not be that nice, you know. And I think that should be all for my talk here. I will be open to a couple questions if you guys want to ask away. I will be waiting for Hypno to join again so we can actually go over that. And I hope I was as helpful as I could be, because that's all I really wanted to do with coming here.